Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shah, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shah, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shah, Call Halal Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Bashem, Raha, Hadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles, the great millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered across the four winds, and double honors to the men that taught our elders and apostles. This is your brother Yakar Abin from Great Millstone, Houston. Another lesson. I'm just gonna get into what this is talking about. This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, "Wherefore remember that ye, being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcised by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands." It says that at that time you were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. So who is this talking about? What is this talking about? What is it referring to? Okay, so we understand if we go back to Genesis chapter 17, it's the covenant of circumcision that was given to Abraham by the Most High. So this is Genesis chapter 17 and verse 7. It says, "And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee." It says, "And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. I will be their power. And the Most High said unto Abram, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations." And that word generations goes into in your dwelling place, in your habitat. This is H1755. It says Dawar, period, generation, habitation, dwelling. So, all the male children in your dwelling place. It says, "And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every male child in your generations. He that is born in the house or brought with money, or any stranger which is not of thy seed, he that is born in thy house, and he that is brought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant." So, we understand that the covenant passed through Isaac and Jacob, and then to Jacob's 12 sons. We can get that in Genesis 35 and 10. This is Genesis chapter 35 and verse 10. It says, "And the Most High said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And the Most High said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave unto Abraham and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. So, going back to Genesis 17, that was an everlasting covenant that the Lord made with Abraham. So when we fast forward and we go to the first Maccabees, when wickedness was increased in the earth. Okay, so this is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and to the cities of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he should die. So, and it says it's up here, I think, a little bit earlier in First Maccabees as well. But this is the thing that was going on during the Hellenization period of the Israelites. The Hellenization period of the Israelites was, the Greeks coming in and changing the customs, changing the laws, and having the people become uncircumcised by penalty of death. And here it is. This is First Maccabees 1 and 11. It says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Okay, and then we can go farther down in that same chapter. And it says, First Maccabees 1 and 60, it says, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that they had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing, wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. So there was a lot of Israelites that died based on, trying to keep the covenant of circumcision. And there were a lot that died based on trying to keep the dietary laws, right? So when we fast forward to the New Testament, where Israel is under the Roman occupation, this is why it's speaking of this. These uncircumcised are Israelites that had gone through that Hellenistic period and had failed had failed to keep the law and to keep the law of circumcision. So as it stated in Genesis 17, it said you would be cut off from your people. But through Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the anointed, Yahweh Shah meaning he is the deliverer, the the Israelites that had become uncircumcised during that Hellenistic period were now able to be brought back into the covenant. So all of the Gentiles that is speaking about in the New Testament are those that were part of the diaspora, those that have fallen off, those that, some knowing that they were Israelites, some knowing that not knowing that they were Israelites. But yet, and then when we go into Acts, Cornelius is the first of those coming back, the first of those scattered, part of the diaspora coming back into the fold under the death of Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. It says that at that time ye were without Mashiach, being aliens. Okay, so we understand what being an alien, apalatrio, to alienate, estrange, to be shut out from one's fellowship and intimacy. So, the Israelites that were cut off based on those circumstances, and all of these different things is a going narrative in the in the Bible. All of these things because as it stands right now, there's no way that us so-called Americans, can trace our lineage all the way back to, because there was a falling away, according to Jeremiah chapter 17. Let's see, Jeremiah 16 or 17. Not Second Thessalonians. How's it phrased? Discontinue from your heritage. Discontinue your heritage. Yeah. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. It says, "And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee." And we understand, let's get that word heritage. This is Nakala, H5159. It says possession, property, inheritance, heritage, portion, share, inheritance, portion. So the Israelites would discontinue from their portion, their inheritance that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land where thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. And we understand that to be the Americas. We understand that to be the Americas. We discontinued from our heritage, but the death of Yahweh Shah Mashiach brought us back into the good graces of his father, Yahweh. And yes, there are two different entities. I guess in the Christian community now, they want to debate that the Father is the Lord. I don't know. This is just madness. But I'll clear that up here in a second with one verse. It says, "But now, in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Mashiach." So Yahweh Shah's sacrifice brought us back into the good graces of Yahweh the Father, because we have been cast off as a people. It says, "For he is our peace, who have made both one," meaning the Israelites that were of the circumcisions, the ones that knew that they were Israelites and had always, as best as they could, kept that covenant that was given to Abraham, and those that have fallen off, but it's still the same bloodline. It's still the same bloodline. It says, "But now in Yahushua, Mashiach Yahushua, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Mashiach. For he is our peace, who have made both one and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. So, you know, those ordinances, that was the ordinance that Genesis 17, that was an ordinance that was given, that if you broke it, you would discontinue from your heritage, that you would be cut off from the promises and the covenants. So when Yahushua, when he laid down his life, he was able to bring all of that back to one. All of those back within the good grace. The circumcision and the uncircumcision became one, still in the covenants of Yahweh. It says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, and that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and them that were nigh. So, when we go into this, we have to read this with understanding. You can't just look at the words and not know the history, not know what this talking about, and just try and lump in other people. The Heavenly Father changes not. Let's get that, and then we'll close it out. What's that? Malachi 3 and 6. And 6. This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. It says, "For I am Yahweh," which this is the Lord's name, Yahweh, meaning he is, or the existing one. It says, "I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." So let's get that. Kala, H3615, to end, to be complete, to be at an end, to be completed, to be finished, to be accomplished, to be fulfilled, to be determined, to be plotted, to be sent, to be used up, to waste away, be exhausted, fail, to come to an end, vanish, perish, be destroyed. So as the Lord changes not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not perished. You're not going to come to an end. The Lord is never going to do away with his people. With that being said, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Raha Kadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Hopefully this lesson is edifying. Kwam Bakarium. Shalom.